And there it is, the trophy for Forge of Champions. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Jake Hitbrain Matthews, and I'll be bringing you all of the action here at Forge as we are coming into our penultimate week, as all of the finals are coming up this week. We've got the semi-finals, and then we've also got the grand finals on Saturday. What day are we on? Thursday. There we go, finals are on Thursday. I'm messing it up. It's all good. Very excited to actually get going with the tournament because we're going to be finding out who is going to be coming out on top, as we have ourselves DIABOLUS, we have PHELAN, we have XL, we have M&M, 4 teams hotly in contention to make it into that grand finals to take on Fnatic. Let's have a little look at the bracket and see how everything is going to be panning out. As at the beginning of last week, we had Darkspawn, PHELAN, Hybrid, and Barrage all making it out of their groups, and then they had to take on DIABOLUS, PHELAN, XL, and M&M. They were the next 4 teams, and now we are just left with these 4 left who have made it through. The winner of these 2 games will be playing tomorrow, and then the winner of that game will be taking on our tower champions Fnatic Rising in the grand final. So it's really, really exciting stuff going on this week in Forge over the next 2 days. Every game last week went almost all the way. We almost had 4 6-game days, apart from one day where we had 5 games, but every game was intense. It went all the way. I'm really excited to see who might be coming through it throughout that relegation section next week of the tournament. Now, let's have a little look at the games coming up today, because we do have a schedule so you know what games are being played when and where. So at the beginning of the day, we're going to be starting up with DIABOLUS versus PHELAN, and then we'll have XL taking on M&M. Tomorrow will be the winner of both of those games versus each other, and like I said, winner of that will then go on to take on Fnatic Rising versus the Tower Champion. Now, I'm not here alone. I am joined by 2 wonderful casters, Orcs and Excoundrel, and we're going to have a little bit of talk about the new housing system here in League of Legends.
Thank you, Jake. Yes, if you have logged into the League client recently, you'll know that there's some houses. And if you are a big brain player, you will have selected the right house, which is the council. Right, Orcs?
Not sure about that one. I mean, I feel like it's just tooting your own horn a bit. It's like everyone's like, oh, I'm in council, I'm so smart. You know, what does it really show it? It shows you have this perception of yourself that you think you're really smart. Personally, I'm a United man. I am tilt-proof in my games, and any of you United fellows or ladies out there.
Orcs has been banned about 5 times for abusive chat, so...
where's the evidence? Where's the evidence?
Let's have a look. We've already sorted our teams into houses. It's not Hogwarts, it's not Hufflepuff. It is the 4 houses of the mid-season, can't remember the rest of that sentence. It's DIABOLUS going into the Faceless. You have PHELAN, they are the United. XL, because they are the biggest of brains in the council, and then we've given the warband to M&M. Talk to me a little bit about why we selected these houses, and it wasn't completely random, and we didn't just draw them out of the hat. So
we gave XL council because, you know, they have really solid coaching staff behind them. They had 3 coaches who unfortunately actually just got let go, but a lot of support and staff for XL, a lot of big brain plays. That's why we gave them council. M&M is pretty much a no-brainer because it's Monk will carry. Warfare are the 1v9 house. That's why we gave that to them. PHELAN, we gave them United because I don't think there was a player on PHELAN who had really good. This person was a single carry. Snuggly did a great job, which really plays into United, but it was a team effort, which is why we've given it to them. And then the Faceless for DIABOLUS because they have some interesting strategies, we'll say. You know, the tank vein top and Faceless are the inspired. They are the inspired house, and you know that we've got to give it to them.
Well, there we go. Jake, what do you make of our makeshift League of Legends sorting hat?
I don't feel like it's makeshift at all, actually. I quite like all of them. I think they all suit their places, yeah.
I actually think we did a pretty solid job of sorting them into their respective houses.
We have Council United. What are you in, Jake?
I am also United.
Oh!
Small brain, small IQ.
Yeah, but strong will. That's what it is. Got some strong will. Now, guys, let us know actually what houses you've selected yourself into. Head over to our Twitter at LVPUK. Use that hashtag Forge of Champions and let us know what house you put yourself in. There was a quiz, wasn't there? I'm right in thinking there was a quiz. Yeah, there was a quiz. Cool. If you did the quiz, I just chose United because my main's in United.
I saw Vedius Nenda tweet about the council. I was like, that's the caster house. Big brain play. And I went for the caster house.
That's cheating.
You know, I just thought because I just felt like it would be very egotistical of it for me to go to council and be like, "Ooh, look how big brain I am." I'm not throwing shit. Or maybe I am. Maybe I'm throwing some shade towards you. Oh, look how smart I am. I'm in council. I'm just, I'm the hard-working support who you want to have on your team. That's me in United.
Well, if you also missed any of the other games coming here at Forge of Champions, do make sure you head over to the YouTube channel at LVP UK. Catch up on all of our previous VODs from Forge of Champions last week, from UKLC, our previous tournament, and even the first Forge of Champions itself. But guys, there we are playing on a brand new patch here, 9.9. So we're going to go back over to Orcs and Scoundrel because they're going to have a little chat about changes we might see coming into the finals of Forge of Champions.
Yes. We have patch 9.9, that is the patch that we are playing on this week, and we have had some pretty significant changes in this update too. That's why we're going to run over them very quickly. I've got, unfortunately not in the Big Brain house, but Big Brain Orcs here, ready to dissect some of these particular changes. We can have a little banter, a little chat about them. There have been some pretty significant champion shifts, and I kind of want to talk about them when we get into the video. But I think some champions have gone up in power level, some champions have gone down in power level. Some have been adjusted for their relative kind of like solo queue and also competitive standing.
This is the important bit. Conquer Alistair.
Yeah.
I've got that skin already, you know. Aatrox adjustment. That's a pretty big one. So we've seen a lot of changes, a bit of a nerf to his ult in some regards because you have to get a takedown to get the revive passive, but in other areas his kit has definitely been buffed.
Well, they've nerfed his Q pretty considerably in the early game, but they've put a lot of power into his passive, which has made his jungle clear speed and sustain really good. It's also made his basic attacks more impactful in general, so weaving basic attacks into a fight can be way more impactful than it was previously. And in general, most people consider him to scale a lot better into the game, and also is a general increase in power level.
I think a big thing as well is that people are saying he's returned as, when we saw him earlier in the season, he was this flex that could go mid, jungle, or top. And I've heard people talking, saying that it's returned to that. You can play him in all three of those lanes. So I expect to see a massive amount of priority on him.
Yeah, I think Aatrox is going to be hugely sought after. I think the builds have generally stayed the same. I personally think that a bit of attack speed can't go amiss on Aatrox, because I think that you get a 2 seconds off your passive every time you basic attack a champion. So, I mean, that's my personal thoughts. But, you know, we'll see exactly what gets built. The Blitzcrank changes aren't too big. However, they essentially adjusted some of his power on his passive to make it more consistent across the board, not reliant on his current mana. But also, they put a bit of reliability into that passive damage coming from his ultimate. I personally don't think this really shifts his place in the meta at all.
I think it's a nice change, but I don't think this is suddenly going to open up, oh, we can play Blitzcrank all the time now. There's still going to be unique instances where someone wants to make a hard carry game for support, but again, don't think it's a massive change.
And Soraka changes, these are pretty significant actually, and you have seen some pretty big shakeups of what Soraka can and can't do. They've moved power from her E, so you can't really get the same kind of power out of the Emax that you used to get in lane, and shifted it onto more of a supporting role where you spam Q, you get the healing, that kind of thing.
That was the thing, the Emax Soraka, it was not so much about sustaining, it was just about the fact that you put so much damage out and poke in lane, and you couldn't avoid it. You can't really avoid that first initial damage from the silence. So they have made her have a lot more healing power, but less of that poke. But it's insane. If you land her Starfall now, you get so much healing from it. And I've actually seen some people play her mid as well. It's still a bit of a fringe pick. I'm not saying it's actually going to come out, but the amount of sustain she gets just from landing a Q means she is pretty viable, and we may see it come out.
Tahm Kench, he had some adjustments. Ultimate range in the early game down, and they also essentially moved his power of saving allies a little bit away from what he could do previously, but just run away with them. And they kind of put a lot of power into more of his upfront damage and laning potential.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the big thing. The two things that people were frustrated at with Tahm Kench was the range on his ult in the early game to impact the map, and also the fact that you can save allies indefinitely. You no longer can do that. Yes, you can eat an ally out of damage, but you're grounded, you're limited in speed. But they gave him base HP, they gave him extra range on his Q, extra damage on his passive in the early levels. He got a lot in return. I just think that in terms of competitive strength, it's definitely dropped. Yeah,
and I think so. I actually haven't seen the biggest change on this update. Me and Orcs, and probably most competitive players would agree. The change in time of spawning of the Scuttle Crab was moved from 2 minutes 5 to 3 minutes.
3 minutes 15.
3 minutes 15. So actually they moved it up about 1 minute and 10, which is insane. That actually massively changes jungle clearing paths. It changes viability of junglers, and it means that level 2 spike junglers are kind of out the window now.
A big thing as well is that a lot of mid laners felt like they were forced to take something that can get an early shove and then roam to help. You're no longer burdened by as much by having to pick something that can help level 1 or level 2 to assist the jungler. So I think it's going to shift the mid lane a little bit, but jungle is definitely going to have drastic changes as patches.
Yeah, and also maybe, I don't think it'll affect bot lane meta too much, but a lot of people also were so keen to get bot lane shoved so they could maybe help out around Scuttlecrab. But I think realistically, we're going to see most of those changes maybe mid and jungle. Majority of them happening in jungle because, again, level 3 spikes have become more relevant here because level 3 is generally when you get to fighting for that Scuttlecrab. So I'm really interested to see how the jungle pool changes up coming into this.
Speaking to some jungle players, and they were of the opinion that Jarvan is dead in the water. He got some nerfs as well this patch. But then that combined with the fact that he was a level 2 champion, we are now no longer like focused on those champions. We want level 3 champions. He's kind of out of there. But things like the Kindred is in a really great situation on this patch.
And Aatrox, because he's a big level 3 power spike.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's all these little extra changes that have really shifted the jungle meta, which is going to be really interesting coming into these semi-finals because this is the first set of competitive stuff that we're seeing, really, on 9.9.
Yeah, MSI going on at 9.8, so all these players, in fact, they've had a week to prepare since the last games, but they really have to make sure they come out strong because it's 1 best of 3 or you're out.
Right, we're going to hand it back over to Jake before we gear up for this first match.
Yeah, we are getting set for our first best of 3 at the final week of Forge of Champions. Question for me is, was that video of bots or was it of some of our backroom players? I don't know. But very, very excited. I'm looking at the wrong camera. I'm just up here. But you're down there now as we can see our wonderful Forge of Champions trophy up for grabs. Now, before we get into our first matchup, let's have a little look at last week's highlights between all of our matches.
Rotate your Tristana and make use of the early power, but they can't afford to overextend.
Fiddle jumps in, throws down the chains onto them. They got the damage off. Monk flashes away, the binding, the dunk. In comes the Ragnarok though, forcing the stopwatch out for the moment. As Nolty picks up Axis, the feathers have been called, but they're not enough to secure the damage as Monk gets his double kill. He's jumping onto Jakamaka. They have everything to work with. Monk comes up with a triple kill on Tristana. And Eminem, they might just try to go for the backdoor if you're Bulldog.
Oh, they're going to raise ult.
They are. They're grouping up. This might just be it. They have to do this Baron so quick. It is liquefied. Hybrid with the Baron and Power recalls are trying to get on. Is this going to be game right here for Bulldogs? They managed to get the base. The inhibitor's gone in. They've got the count. Bulldogs bites back in game 2.
To keep up, it's just the way, the mistakes that are happening here as Blyce tries to go for the 1v1 on Exile.
Exile's looking to go aggressive here, has got the Iron Spike of the Infinity Edge, forced to jump away. Actually, Blyce goes for it, now trying to chase him down. Exile doesn't have anything left in his tank to get away. Oh, he makes a little awkward misstep, and Blyce picks up a 1v1, 2 levels below.
And Exile gone.
Again, Exile, one of the strongest members of the XL squad, and Sendo now committing to the bottom side of the map.
He doesn't have teleport available.
Yeah, he doesn't have teleport available. Blyce now. Blyce might even win this one as well.
He doesn't even have ball tender.
Oh, Blyce gets 2 kills.
If only. We do see the Baron getting started up now. And this is, of course, the real threat. The teleport is available for Akers. PFI is making his way back, but the Baron is getting low. There is a lot of AoE damage available here.
Oh, Fast Leg gets absolutely deleted as the Baron going down. Oh, my God!
You can see Coward walking the wave up. They've got Blyce, all 5 members of Bulldog are joining up. The bubble does connect onto one. Blyce flashes forward. In comes the wombo combo. It's do or die for Hybrid. They get the taunt off with everyone. Diabolus low as Coward tries to solo him out. He does get himself the kill, but they're looking to pop off right here. The Resurrection's coming in. Oh, Dragdar finds a double kill. Finds a quadra kill. Coward is low. He gets the condemn. Dragdar with the pentakill.
And what a turnaround with just the Nexus left! Dragdar, he turns it in the fight when he has been so far down all game!
Well, those are the highlights from our quarterfinal matches. Now we are jumping into those semi-finals, the first of which is going to be Diabolus taking on PHELAN, which will be an interesting game because PHELAN really weren't pegged to make it this far along, and Diabolus have shown a little bit of shakiness coming through.
Yeah, I think in terms of what happened in the UKLC regular split, this is very Diabolus favoured, but in terms of the Forge of Champions performance, I think PHELAN have a really good chance here. They come in really solid, they had a great performance last week, but Diabolus, they looked shaky. Considering they're against a Darkspawn who in game 1 ran a support main in the mid lane, and they lost.
But every game. Oh, did they bring Beely back, actually?
I think they brought Beely back. Or was it? It might have been every game, actually.
I think they ran a support in the mid lane for every game. But
and then it was the fact it was that close, a bit from set 1, but we will get into draft. And PHELAN actually quickly bowing away for that job, which is something we thought we wouldn't see much of on this patch, but they're still concerned it might be an issue. If you're wondering why there's a Vel'Koz ban, it is because ADM has been called an Aurelion Sol Vel'Koz 2 trick. One of those is off the table already.
Yeah, Vel'Koz's a little bit more awkward to deal with than Aurelion Sol, I think, in most scenarios, especially because if you don't do geometry, you can get caught out too much.
I think as well, if you go, I'm not sure if you do, but I'm pretty sure you can go the Glacial Augment.
You can, yeah.
On the, and it's so hard, if he puts the slows down, it's just an easy ult setup.
Yeah, exactly. I think with the Glacial Augment, you just prop one of the active items, then just bam, laser down, and actually it's going to be really obnoxious because you get that big line of slow. You just layer your ultimate over it. Yep. You're going to get free 3-tick proc at least. So the Nautilus gets banned out. Interestingly, Nautilus wasn't touched on 9.9. He has been a bit of a menace in the mid lane. People have been playing AP Nautilus mid. But the first pick Vayne comes out for, I can only assume, a Chew. I'm not going to expect any Kerberos shenanigans.
So actually, there was some banter going back and forth between Snuggly and Yusa and Kerberos. I was talking to them earlier. And it was basically Snuggly was saying, we won't ban Vayne if you don't ban Vel'Koz. And DIABOLUS banned the Vel'Koz. And I think, obviously, they were just bantering about, this isn't serious. But they very quickly denied that Vayne, which again, it takes away from both Kerberos and Yusa, who both are liable to play here. But DIABOLUS quickly answered with that Zyra Rakan lane, which...
I like that. It's
Yeah, we've seen big changes to Rakan on this patch. But I feel like he is in a pretty good position. His base stats are solid. It's just his engage isn't going to be as reliable. It's a bit harder to avoid.
Interestingly, we didn't cover it in patch 9.9 rundown that we did, but what has essentially happened to Rakan is that his E engage speed has actually been significantly increased.
W engage speed.
Sorry, the W engage speed, the dash, basically. The dash has been significantly increased in terms of the engage speed. However, and his base stats have been increased, but his attack damage has come down. But in general, he's become a bit tankier in the laning phase, which makes him a bit more of a sort of a lane viable, especially if you're going up against the support, which in general you're going to look to engage on early.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of power out of that. What they have changed, the most significant, is that when you use your ultimate for the first 0.5 seconds, you cannot use flash or grand entrance.
Yep.
Now, for most players, that will not really have too much of an impact, but for the people who like to flash instantly, then get the knock up for the guaranteed knock up, it can make a bit of an impact.
I think it just significantly slows your engage down and how instantaneous you can make it. But I mean, at the end of the day, you are up against a Thresh. I've seen, I believe it was DOS who was playing it in EU Masters when he played Rakan. He would pop the R, try and bait out the Flay, then go for it. So you've got to see a lot of mind games here. But the Thresh is a huge pick for Snuggly. Had a really amazing performance on it last week. So I like the confidence coming out from PHELAN's bot lane with this Vayne Thresh pick up against DIABOLUS' bot, who've been pretty stellar so far. And then they opt to pick up the Renekton. Expect to see that go towards Eragon.
I imagine Eragon's played a lot of Renekton from what we've seen.
Yeah, and then the Ryze is still a flex. We have seen Kerberos play. He does like that champion at the top lane. It is a Krogston champion, but it could still be flexed.
Yeah, I like the fact that we're seeing Hado on Rakan, because I actually think Rakan is one of the few champions where I've looked at Hado's play and say, okay, I see you at the high level. I can see you doing well. And I'm more comfortable seeing Hado play when he's on something like Rakan. Interesting draft from PHELAN early on. Essentially, I feel like they're going super comfort. I know that Renekton is a big, comfortable pick for Eragon in the top lane. It has lots of really good matchups. A little bit worried that Kennen is still on the table. Kerberos could easily pick up Kennen, in my opinion, if he wanted to.
In theory, but to be honest, I haven't really seen Kerberos go towards that champion very much. It is strong. Maybe you'll be right. But for me, Kerberos has sort of gone towards more different champs, let's say. We're thinking about that tank Vayne top. Isn't obviously going to be on the table now, but we do see they are going to keep that Ryze as a potential flex for now if they pick up the jungle here. What will Monkish want to get his hand off? And Kha'Zix's in a good position because he is a level 3 jungler.
He's a level 3 jungler. He's actually got okay clear speed in the early game. Not as quick as some junglers, but his single target clear is really good. So if you can get it down to single target, that's awesome. But Kindred comes through. That is what most people are calling like an S-tier jungler on this patch. Like Kindred's just really, really high power level. She's got great clear speed. Her level 3 is really good too.
I mean, that was a big thing is that her mark appearance has been delayed with the Scuttle Crab, but it's actually great because normally when you're level 2 and the Scuttle Crab appears,
you're like, I'm a level 2 Kindred.
You're like, I can't do anything. But now as level 3, you actually have a lot more fighting power. I think with his Zyra Rakan bot lane as well, if you play for that bot side Scuttle, you have the assistance because they are most likely going to get that shove level 1 and be able to help you out.
Soft goes for comfort here, something that he's played quite a lot of with up and down performances, but we know Soft loves Elise as a jungler. It's actually one of the few junglers that can do quite well into Kindred as well because you've got the gap closing potential, you've got the ability to lock them up with the cocoon. It's not one of those junglers that kind of gets kited to death. You know, you can find opportunities. And Elise also has all of her kit unlocked at level 3, so she is a good level 3 jungler too.
Yeah, her level 3 is really powerful. I feel like it does put a bit more risk on the Kindred because, yes, Kindred is better at his level 3 than he is at his level 2, but Elise is sort of the queen of fighting before 6. And I think if you just don't respect her when you go for that Scuttle Crab, you could get caught out. We do see the Orianna picked up by ADM, a pretty safe control mage that would do fine into the Rise, but again, we don't know if this Rise is going mid lane yet.
It doesn't look like it is.
I don't think it is.
Krogson is going to default to an absolute classic Krogson pick in the mid lane of the Zilean. I really like it, actually, because it makes something like, especially if Monkeys, who, in my opinion, has been one of the hard carries of Diabolus, if Monkeys pops off this game, you know, you're looking at a super strong jungler coming out right now.
Yeah. I think as well what's nice is that they're going up against a Vayne who she just absolutely midders with anyone with HP. And I think you're in a situation where Vayne's going to struggle to team fight. You have the lockdown potentially of the Rise of the Zilean, and then Yusa and Monkeys are going to pump out so much damage if you get close to them. There is a more traditional comp coming out for PHELAN that we expect. You know, you have more of a front line with that.
It's a bit more front to back, right?
Yeah, very much more front to back. But I feel like Diabolus, if they can facilitate their carries, it's going to be so difficult to deal with them because there's so many huge threats. And Zilean, he just makes those threats so much more powerful. The one concern is, though, if you set a Kindred and a Zilean behind, they are so bad.
Yeah, they really are.
They really fall off. So for me, Diabolus are coming into a situation where they need to get the momentum early.
What I like about PHELAN's composition here is actually you look at this situation where you've got things that can snowball in the early game like Renekton and Elise, but then you've got real late game potential with the Orianna and the Vayne too. It's a classic, easy to execute composition. It's front to back team fighting. Limited split push potential is the only concern that you could have here going into a double teleport of Diabolus. Now Zilean is not exactly a split push monster, but he can clear waves really quickly and push waves really quickly. And Rise obviously has split push potential, you know, throughout the whole game.
I think as long as the Renekton doesn't fall too far behind, he should be okay against the Rise.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to like really easily dive you unless he gets really far ahead. My concern is just going to be if you fall behind against a composition with things like the Zilean, the Kindred, it's so hard to kill anyone because you know you try and pick off a target. You have a Rakan with so much interruption. You have the Xayah who can go untargetable. And then crucially as well, you have that Zilean ult and you have the Kindred ult just to stop anyone from dying.
Okay, so we kind of know the win condition of PHELAN, right? They've got this Vayne, they've got this Orianna. If they can snowball top lane, that's great. They've got the Renekton to give them that kind of pressure in the early game. And then you get to late game, you've got these really two strong carries. And you talked about the fact that Vayne isn't great versus sort of low HP targets, but Orianna is. Orianna loves to eat, you know, 8 low HP carries in the late game.
Yeah.
Good shockwave dissonance combos can wreck, you know, almost 70 to 80% of your HP in one go. That is where Kindred will come through, of course. But, you know, you do have a little bit of teamfight potential, even versus a low HP set of targets coming out from Diabolus.
I mean, Vayne is still going to do fine. She's in the sort of situation where it's like people like Vayne's a late game champion. She was, now she's still a mid game champion. It's like Vayne will kill anything in front of her. But the reason I say that she's not as good against these squishy targets is because they can actually fight back.
Yes.
If you put her up against something like, you know, a Rek'Sai, and if the Rek'Sai isn't able to get on top of her, he will just get absolutely slaughtered. But there is good lockdown coming out from the side of Diabolus. So, do you see both junglers start on the bot side? And so with the changes, you don't actually get level 3, I believe, if you do all 3 camps on the blue side jungle. So if Monkeys does, if he takes that blue, then the Gromp, then heads over the Wolves, I believe he doesn't get level 3.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Looks like we're seeing a bit more of an extended clear from red to blue side for Elise and Soft. Maybe looking to go red into Wolves, maybe into blue, and then look for Scuttle. Maybe blue Gromp, then Scuttle. We'll see what happens. Still has a minute to go, and I think it should be able to clear both camps here. Looks like we are going to see Soft go Gromp, then into blue. That should give level 3, and immediately then put you onto topside Scuttle. And yes, so Monkeys is just 1 camp away from getting level 3.
This is one of the big things. Normally, if you go on a blue side start, you could head to the Scuttle now, and that would allow you to get level 3. But crucially, because Monkeys cleared his blue side 3 camps, he does not hit level 3. But he is going for a pretty healthy clear. That is the big thing with Kindred. He doesn't lose that much health when he's clearing because his passive does help him give a bit of sustain. So he's going for a fairly safe clear, but I feel like now Soft is in the position where he can go and challenge.
Is he just sacrificing middle Scuttle, or does he think that he can get Krugs into Scuttle and then actually be able to contest that top side?
I think he might just be sacrificing the Scuttle, because right now, Soft is waiting in the area. He's actually been in a lot of time here. I would like to see him potentially invade on those Raptors, but I think he doesn't know that they haven't been taken. Might actually be looking for a gank up here top, but Monkeys is in the area.
Arrogant does get the flash, but in comes Monkeys. It's actually going to be a 2 versus 2 now with flashes still available. That's a big engage now onto Soft. Now forcing away. Monkeys already goes to the flash. First blood over to Monkeys. They should get a level 3 Aragon with no flash down too. Kerberos will have that route available.
Monkeys has to be careful.
He has to be careful, actually. That is a little bit of disrespect. And now Arrogant. Kerberos has no mana. Kerberos has got absolutely no mana. The teleport coming through from Krogson to try and dissuade him, but Arrogant should just be able to get away.
Just have the flash.
Did what?
Bomb doesn't quite connect, but that will take him out.
I don't know what Croxon did, but I'm pretty sure he flashed on the spot.
He may well have, but I don't think it mattered. He went for that glacial augment, so the slowdown was there, and it looked really bad for PHELAN in the opener. They used all their mobility to get in, and then kind of botched it. But crucially, the Renekton was so strong in that early skirmish, they managed to find something back. A bit messy from both teams, but then the DIABOLUS definitely come out ahead.
Actually, Soft picks up the Scuttler on the bottom side. Now might be able to just rotate to top side Scuttle too.
Well, the thing is, he still has his bot side jungle that he can go and clear. So right now, Monkeys, he's actually missing out a bit because he's going to head over, see that Scuttle's been taken. There's not really much you can do other than head to his Raptors. Whereas at least she's still happy to keep clearing these camps.
I mean, he must have known Scuttle was down. I think he's just waiting for bottom side respawn right now. Going to ignore the Raptors entirely. He could have pathed up to top Raptors back and then gone towards the bottom side jungle, but maybe he's looking for an extended clear from blue to red side.
I think a big one is that Kindred is not good at doing Raptors, and I think there are some junglers where you tend to just
ignore them for late, yeah.
So I think that's the sort of position he's been in. I feel like it's a pretty good bait as well. If you leave them up and you have it warded, you constantly see Croxon moving over to that area to put wards down. If you see at least move to it, you can actually punish it, and
Did Croxon get that? No, at least Soft got that. So it's a double Scuttle for Soft. Going to give him a slight experience lead here. And also the mark spawning on the Gromp here as well, which means the first mark is not going to get picked up by Monkeys. I'm wondering whether he picked up a mark from sort of either targeting Soft or targeting Aragon in that counter gank scenario.
Not 100% certain. Probably will get to see later on, but it's not exactly what you want to see. You want to see the Kindred get quite a bit of momentum in the early levels, but still, you're up against her at least. She's not by any means the best scaling champion, but you want to find some tempo with this Zilean, with this Kindred. A lot of back and forth there.
You can see Kerberos now just trying to trade against Aragon, who does not have that flash available. Monkeys is going to get spotted out, I think, by that control ward, and Aragon will now be just taking a forward position in the lane. Not too concerned by the presence of Monkeys, but knows he has that slice and dice to get him out if things get a little bit spicy.
Ooh. I mean, it all plays into the fact that Renekton Elise is such a strong 2v2. Monkeys has to respect it because, yes, they got out pretty easily in that first play, but they still managed to drop a kill and rely on Croxon TPing up to turn it around. I think they know they have to be respectful. If this Elise turns up, they will get punished very hard.
They just saw Elise in mid lane, though. I think Croxon saw Elise path down towards the bottom side of the map. There is good vision control for PHELAN around that Infernal Dragon. Wondering whether we see that or we're just going to see a blue side invade coming out from Soft. You can see he's hanging around on that bottom side of the map. He has the potential to gank the bot lane. He has the potential to go for that, that blue side take.
I mean, crucially, Monkeys is on a ward right now doing his Krug, so I think this would be a great time to actually look potentially a gank or this Herald, and now Hado and Yusa are trapped.
This is a little bit awkward. It's a 4-man engage onto Yusa and Hado, and I think that's just going to be it for Yusa. The first kill does indeed go over to a Chu, who picks up an early lead on that vein.
Kerberos TP'd in, and to find essentially nothing. I think if PHELAN just back off here, they're going to get some plates on the top side. ADM has to be careful, though.
ADM does have to be careful. Has got his flash available. That's a lot of the burst already used by Croxon right now as Hado and Monk is now engaging. That's a really big engage from Hado. Forces the flash immediately out of Snuggly. But what does it actually do at the end of the day? What does it actually do? Maybe they can get the Infernal Drake from this?
They are going to look for it. TB isn't available for Aragon, so he won't be there to contest. I think Soft might potentially look for a steal here.
It's a really big level up from Croxon onto Monkeys too. You can see he's just trying to scout it out. I think they're going to have to end up giving this up because they don't have the support available. Snuggly maybe looking for a hook. Doesn't land. That is going to be a smite that is true from Monkeys, and he should be able to pick up this River Scuttler in the time being too.
Definitely a good advantage to take, but one of the things they sacrificed here is a ton of CS in his top lane and 2 plates over to Aragon, so this Crocodile is starting to get quite scary. Finally do see a Scuttle go into the hands, and he does have 1 stack, so I believe that may well have been from that.
Must have been from one of the kills that he picked up earlier on in that top lane engage for sure. Kerberos has been kind of sacrificed just a little bit here. It was a TP that didn't really do much for that engage, but it did help them secure the Infernal Drake. So they may think overall that that's actually kind of worth, and they'll happily take a little bit of a sacrifice on Kerberos' lane to go for that Infernal Drake. But the problem is he's going up against a really oppressive lane opponent in the form of Renekton. You know, if a Renekton gets a lead on a Rise, it's donezo, like most of the time. It's absolutely donezo, and unfortunately Kerberos has to be super careful about how he approaches this.
There has now been a decision by PHELAN to swap their bot lane up top. It makes a lot of sense. They are now looking towards that Rift Herald with the Dragon off the table. does mean that Aragon is up in a 1v2 lane, but
That's
honestly...
an early swap, though, isn't it? For 8 minutes? Like,
it lets you set up. It is early, but the thing is, I guess they feel like they can pressure this tower. Because remember, that tower's only got 3 plates. They could actually potentially get that if they have the numbers advantage here. And the thing is, I don't think you can dive Aragon on this Renekton. He is so strong. I feel like Houston Haddo would just get mincemeated by him.
I feel like when you take a swap like that, and this is just my personal opinion, feel free to kind of dive back at me. I always feel like if you're going to swap your bot lane, it's always better to have got secured some kind of advantage on the bot side of the map, and then you rotate when Rift Herald is available to be able to do an immediate push and then go for Rift Herald to try and push them out. The problem is they swapped so early that you've given so much time for Diabolus to react now. Kerberos is still on the top side of the map. Haddo and Monkeys and Yusa are now in position.
I feel like the crucial thing is the setup. Oh, that's the advantage that they managed to get here. But TP's coming in from Krogson.
Oh, it's a big TP, the engage coming through from Haddo. Haddo able to just knock up onto Snuggly. That should be 1 kill right now. And again, soft the target. Kerberos looking for a stun. Won't be able to find it though. And that's going to be a 5-man engage on the top side. They should, with Rift Herald spawning soon, be able to secure that too. Or at least get vision control over the area.
Yeah, so that is the disadvantage, is that PHELAN, they wanted to get the setup, but they didn't check for flanking wards from that TP. And they get punished because they felt like, oh, we got here first, we're confident we can push up. Diabolus to turn around and punish, and now they're going to get some plates back in return, and they're in a good position to set up for this Rift Herald. But we see pings coming out. There are pings on the wall. There is a TP available for Aragon. On the way, ping coming in. I think he's going to TP in this. They are not TP into this. They're not giving this one away for free.
Monkeys is going to dive over. The TP is coming in from Aragon, so they do actually find a situation where they can force the 5-man advantage on this side of the map with Kerberos going back down. Don't think the steal is on the cards right now for Monkeys.
Seems to be looking for it, though.
He may be able to dive over and get the smite, at least deny it. But I think PHELAN are just going to take this with that 5-man advantage. So, although they committed very early and allowed Diabolus to essentially read them like a book, what has ended up happening here is they have, with that TP advantage, secured themselves the Rift Herald. And you can see now, I think they also lost another mark, I think, because that River Scuttler got taken immediately by Soft.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a prize. PHELAN coming out pretty strong here. That is what you want to do. Question's going to be where they're going to use it. They have a fairly large amount of time before those plates fall. You really want to get that Rift Herald in before then to get a big gold swing. And top might well be the target, because with only 3 plates up on that tower, Rift Herald could be enough to take it down, but it looks like Soft going to use that empowered recall, might well head elsewhere and see where he can impact the map the most.
Look at the gold differences right now. Monkeys is storming ahead with 700 gold lead over his opponent. So most of the gold lead for Diablo is actually coming from that jungle matchup where Monkeys is doing really well. And when you've got a Kindred on your team, you do want to see this kind of advantage being accrued early. And when you've got at least, you really don't want to see her falling behind too much. Do have to praise the fact that PHELAN reacted really well to that top side of the map switch over though. And actually now, this might be the first mark that we're seeing Monkeys secure on his enemy side jungle, because no one is on that bottom side.
Yeah, completely undefended, and Soft trying to make a play here. There is a ward in that middle brush, so I wonder if he'll move up. He will get spotted out if he does, but he's actually just going to drop the Rift Herald. They are looking to pressure down this tower, and I feel like Houston Haddo, there's not a ton you can do against this. The tower, I think he'll survive the initial hit, but he'll go down very quickly after that. Yeah,
this is good play from PHELAN. They're just going to force the advantage. They'll be picking up all of those plates, and they will get that charge off from the Rift Herald onto that top lane tower to get the first tower of the game. In the meantime, Kerberos going in a 1v1.
He does not win this.
You do not win this. Absolutely not. Flashes out the way. Aragon maybe looking for a flash Q here.
4 seconds on his E.
Don't know if he's got enough time. He's going to have to E and flash and Q. He's going to be able to do it. Oh, Kerberos, absolutely clutch. Gets the snare off, and Aragon, I think he's just dead to Monkeys now. That was a clutch snare coming out from Kerberos. Has Monkeys got what it takes? Yes, he does. And he will be able to pick up Aragon.
What a misplay. I mean, credit to Kerberos for finding that opportunity, but it feels like it was a massive misplay from Aragon. He'd forced Kerberos out the lane. He could have just backed off and just hammered away at the tower, but instead, he looks for the kill, doesn't find it because he lost vision in that bush, and then in the end, Kerberos comes out on top, handing over another kill. But you see, so it comes out here.
I kind of want to watch the range on his Q.
He's waiting for the E cooldown, and I think crucially, he loses vision, so he E flashes, and then that Q doesn't...
That Q didn't hit? That must have been like absolutely like minimal distance outside of the hitbox range of the Q there. That's insane.
Yeah.
Also, you've got to remember, spectator can sometimes be really funky.
Yeah, it might well be that.
ADM gets locked up here, surely just going to go down. Flashes out the way. That's a flash in, though, coming in from Monkeys. Soft now the next target, forced to flash also. They should be able to get this, but Snuggly again, with that lantern, ever faithful as always, bails out his jungler.
Yeah, but it does mean Diabolus are going to be able to move towards this dragon. Only an ocean, not the most impactful, but Monk is happy to take this one. It's what you want to do as a Kindred. You want to be secure in these objectives.
Yeah, and it also means that Diabolus can continue to at least get some of those global objectives that they were securing on the bottom side of the map. Their bot lane is very strong right now. Yusa in a really, really strong position. You can see finding a really good trade versus a Chu 2. They should be at some point able to just say, okay, let's push down a tower with Yusa. He's just in such a good position.
Yeah, and Snuggly, we've seen so great Thresh play from him last week, but it really feels like his hooks just haven't been hitting the mark so far in this game. Right now, the bot lane of Diabolus has got a lot of pressure. It looks like they're just going to take this bot lane tower essentially for free.
Well, I guess it's because of the vision control in the red side jungle is abysmal from PHELAN, so they have no idea whether they're getting dived or not.
Yeah, and I mean, Monk is on this side of the map, and that's actually Aragon does spot out Monk. I thought he was going to walk into a questionable situation, but trying to steal away that red, but it just gets picked up, and Diabolus really starting to take tempo in this game. And I mean, that's so important for that composition, but it makes me start to get concerned for PHELAN because this strong top jungle they have really starts to fall off later on.
You can see Krogson has got that Hextech GLP 5000, is that what it's called? 500? I can never remember the name of that Hextech item.
I can't remember the exact number.
It's just not, I just know it's not Protobal. I think it's like
the slowy
the GLP 500.
Yeah,
that's going to help him land those double bombs more consistently in small skirmishes too.
It just offers more utility because, I mean, Zilean does get some nice benefit from the extra AP, but his damage isn't really the main focus in this composition. He is offering a lot of utility. It means that extra slow, especially if you go, well, most likely will go towards that Twin Shadows, means it's going to be so hard for PHELAN to disengage, so hard for them to find any chance to move around the fight.
3 marks on Monkeys, by the way. So 1 mark away from that very crucial 4 mark option. As you can see, a Tuna. Oh my goodness, the damage coming out from Kerberos and Krogson. Not enough as a Chu actually dives away.
It's so difficult. There's so little outplay potential up against this composition of Diabolus because if you get in range off the Rise, off the Zilean, off the Rakan, you're just going to get punished. And it's so difficult to play it, and you saw it there.
This is the 4th mark, the River Scuttler spawning for Monkeys on the bottom side of the map. This 4th mark would give him that extended range. Probably the most important mark, as Monkeys now immediately engaged on by Soft, forced to pop the Lambs Spike. He has got the ultimate from Monkeys, from Krogson as well. Lots and lots of ultimates coming through as Kerberos now moves through. Massive, massive health gain, but he does go down. Kerberos might be able to clean things up as Snuggly goes through. Soft now. Going to be trying diving away. Now a Chu also. Now Hado diving in too. Hado goes for the knockup. They're trying to do what they can as Yusa now moves down. Hado by himself. 1v2. The rest of Diabolus are not in the picture. And Aragon's coming through too as well. Flashes everywhere as Yusa trying to scare people up. I have no idea what happened there. It felt like that was going to be an easy turnaround from Diabolus, but the rest of PHELAN did respond.
Monk is overcommitted so hard for that mark, and in the end, it's just punished by PHELAN. They burn his ult. They burn the Zilean ult. All just trying to keep him alive, and in the end, Diabolus joined a fight that was already lost from the beginning. Looks like they're going to try and get this tower. They should be able to get it down, but honestly, Diabolus, they got lucky. They actually managed to keep those 3 members alive. Those flashes came in clutch, but they really dropped the ball on that one.
They're going to also take away this River Scuttler, which will be the 4th mark taken away from Monkeys now as well. Remember, that 4th mark, like we said, is really important for Kindred because it's the one that gives you that at slightly extended range. Yeah, it makes us safer in teamfight situations too.
They did get a shutdown onto that Kindred with that kill in that teamfight, so just a great situation for them all around. PHELAN showing they are very much still in this game.
They actually have been doing a really good job of vision control on that bottom side of the map as well. Apart from that little moment where they had almost nothing in their red side jungle, I have to be really impressed with the amount of vision that's going down from PHELAN in general. Hado's doing a good job of clearing it out now, but I feel like Monkeys was caught out specifically because the vision control was poor from that red side jungle entrance on the PHELAN side of the map, and they didn't know that they were going to get caught out by Soft looking for the engage.
Just a bit of overconfidence is what happens. You feel like you're ahead, you feel like you can do anything you want. Diabolus starting to get control again. They are playing a slower game, getting that vision before they make the plays. So things don't backfire once again. And actually, Aragon's going for a 1v1 on the curb, but Krogson is going to turn up, and I feel like you aren't really going to be able to do anything in this situation.
You can see there, Aragon trying his best. Krogson, does he have the ultimate?
Oh, he gets it!
Krogson doesn't have the ultimate, or if he did, he didn't able to use it because he was stunned. But Kerberos picks up the 1-for-1 trade in the end.
I was just going to say, you're up against a Rise and a Zilean, and crucially the Zilean means you're very unlikely to be able to find that kill. The one window is you get Zilean low and you stun him before he can ult, and that's what Aragon does. He finds a 1-for-1, and now Yusa, no ultimate available.
ADM's
I don't think he's
in.
going to survive this one.
I don't think he can survive this one either. The smite comes through, the hook is there, Chu picks up the kill, but they will trade mid lane tower for it. It looks like PHELAN are going to try and take the bot lane tower in response too, but Yusa by himself on the bottom side of the map, and look at the vision. There is almost no vision for DIABOLUS on that bot side at all right now.
This may well feed into this dragon though as well. Hado going to try and step up, but now respawns are coming in for Krogs and he's heading over, but Yusa's still off the map, so I feel like it's going to be a rough fight for DIABOLUS to take, but they are hovering around, they are potentially looking for something. ADM still has a shockwave though.
Monkeys has got a flank position as Krogson comes through. That is going to be the Glacial Augment activated. The Hextech GLP comes through as well, landing those bombs, zoning out the rest of PHELAN. And again, soft push to the side as another Drake is taken. ADM now in a bit of a precarious position. He gets locked up, tries to go for the combo stun, whiffs the shockwave, and PHELAN will walk away.
It felt like PHELAN weren't confident there, and they get forced off 3 members against 4. And DIABOLUS managed to secure the dragon, and that's off the back of those 2 turrets they got in the previous turn of play. So,
oh, I love this from DIABOLUS. They're zoning out a potential rotate on this mid lane tier 2. PHELAN will not fall for it, but it does gift them a tier 2 in the mid.
All sorts of question mark things coming out. They are completely unaware. And DIABOLUS, they don't miss a beat. They manage to find the plays. Now the mark has come up, and Monkeys heading over to it.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets this, this will be that big mark. I don't know whether he picked up one in that fight, because I do believe that Chu was still his mark in that situation. There we go. He picks up that 4th mark. That is a big, big pickup for Monkeys. That's going to give him that slightly extended range. It's probably the most important mark for Kindred to pick up in the game, and they have now activated that at 20 minutes.
Yeah, which is where you want to be. They have the core items coming out from the Zillion, all that utility with the slows. Kerberos in a great position with the Rylai's and that fully stacked Seraphs. The only one who's really lagging behind is Yusa, who's just sitting on the IE and Azeel. But they're really getting to the point where they are gaining a lot of momentum. And as I say that, he picks up that rapid fire cannon. Death Dance coming in for Monkeys. So I feel like DIABOLUS are in such a great position to start forcing and start looking for fight. And you absolutely need that Blade of the Rune King on a Chu before he's a real damage threat.
You can see he's waiting for that Ginsu's finishing as well. That'll be the 2-item spike that's kind of made Vayne so popular over the last few weeks, especially in that middle portion of the game. Kerberos has finally found a little bit of threat versus Eragon here. Eragon has not been able to snowball this matchup to the extent where he's just dominating Kerberos in the 1v1, and this is good signs for DIABOLUS, because Eragon's power level is starting to wane. Oh, wait a second, Yusa engaged. Hado is going to get the knock-up onto a Chu. A Chu should go down. Not sure the teleport was needed from Croxon, but better safe than sorry. And a Chu trying to find the 1v1 gets caught out by a 4-man dive.
Oh, Spooky Ghost coming out. It's so hard to play against with that range, Croxon. He's going to look for the slow again, double one.
So many slows. The shockwave is just not going to be good enough. Snugly flashes out, but now Monkeys in the middle of nowhere. Has still got that ultimate available. Will pop it as soon as the spider does land on him. I think there's going to be a teleport coming out from Eragon now, as Croxon is essentially trying to get himself killed with Kerberos trying to back him up. Now Croxon coming back to life, flashes away from Eragon. Eragon on the bottom side of the fight, surely going to go down to the rest of DIABOLUS. In the meantime, Monkeys takes out another, and DIABOLUS should be able to turn for the Baron.
And the crucial thing is they were fighting without their Vayne. They just did not have the damage to finish that one out. The ult from Krogs and the Monkeys were crucial in keeping that one going longer. And now DIABOLUS turn over the Baron. I feel like feeling no real chance to contest this.
Nope, nothing they can do about it. Baron's going to go down. That's going to make that push from Kerberos even harder for Eragon to deal with. He's been struggling with it for the last few minutes. He's going to continue to struggle with it now that Kerberos has picked up that Baron. And speaking of, 3-1 on 5, despite having some awkward fights not particularly going his way. Let's have a look at that again, though.
So you say he's just buying time here, survives for so long, and then crucially Hado holds the quickness. I mean, that's the thing, is you have to hold the quickness down, but he finds the ability to save Yusa, and Chu nearly had that 1v1, but crucially you go for that play by yourself, and it means your team are pretty much doomed without you. They try and contest this. It's a good shockwave, but right now, DIABOLUS, they have so much pressure here, and there's no way you're going to kill Monkeys because he has that ult, and you still have the ult from Krogson, so they can just go forwards as aggressively as they want, and then Eragon TP's in, and this is when things really go badly because Yusa turns up and Kerberos turns up, and there's just no way you win that fight for PHELAN.
No, I really liked where Krogson positioned, by the way. Basically looked like he was isolating himself, but realistically he was drawing the rest of PHELAN into that trap where Kerberos is able to just back him up when he resurrected, and because you're at a point now where you've got enough AP, you're basically resurrecting with full HP as the Zillion. So
absolutely, and the big thing was as well is that the only person in range of him was ADM. His shockwave was down. There was no way you CC him to stop an ult, but right now they're looking for Kerberos on the top side.
Kerberos doesn't have his ult available either. It should be up just about now. Will he be able to escape? I don't think he will, but will he be able to buy time is the real question, as Kerberos, I think, did get away marginally with the ultimate on the top side of the map. You can see the rest of PHELAN backing off, and in the meantime, DIABOLUS are just, hey, let's have a look. Kerberos now being targeted by a Chew, but he has bought so much time for DIABOLUS to push onto the middle inhibitor. That was the easiest worth of Kerberos' life.
Absolutely. You've got to ask, is it the right play for PHELAN, though? Because, yes, they lose that middle inhibitor, but I think that thing was going to go down anyway. Now, they need to get back and look for a fight right now, 5v4. This is a one opportunity they have to win a team fight when Kerberos is off the table, but they need to find an engage, and that is not going to make it easy.
That's disgusting. That's absolutely disgusting. The slow coming out. Oh, the double bomb as well. Snuggly might have signed his own death sentence as Yusa gets pulled in by the shockwave. No one can engage from PHELAN right now, and the zoning of Krogson on one of his signature picks is doing so much work. DIABOLUS are going to open up another inhibitor. They might even just get the inhibitor straight up with Yusa and Monkeys being able to do that. They're looking for the end Orcs. They're looking to go straight in for the jugular, look for the kill on PHELAN while it hurts, and this is going to be the big engage. There's Aragon going into the backline, but he just gets obliterated. The rest of PHELAN, they're looking helplessly as DIABOLUS wail down on their Nexus turrets. You can see waves now starting to push in. They've got another inhibitor wave in that middle side of the map too. The Nexus turret goes down. DIABOLUS pop the ultimate to ensure that they get the victory no matter what happens. A little bit of sweeping on the sidelines, but DIABOLUS take the first game against PHELAN.
Yeah, and just a dominating performance. They picked a composition where they had so much momentum if they got ahead. They had so much pick potential with that Rakan, and then they had the utility of the Kindred and the Zillion. There was no way you escaped them. There was no way you killed them. And it just felt like once they got through that early game, there wasn't much PHELAN could do.
Wasn't always the cleanest. There were some shaky moments with DIABOLUS, but I do feel like, you know, when you pick the Renekton, when you pick the Elise, you need to get a rolling lead with them. Yep. You need to start things moving swiftly, because you don't have to back up if you're AD carry and your mid laner, because they are more scaling. You know, they're not going to be able to be there for you, and especially if DIABOLUS, you know, with the Rise heavy mid game power spike, the Kindred heavy mid game power spike, especially if you pick up the marks, like you need to have someone that's going to contest that, and it just PHELAN didn't. And
I felt like it was so difficult for a Chew or for ADM to do anything, because they're dealing with the Zillion ult that will revive, which is really effective against Vayne, who has all that single target damage, and also the Kindred ult, the Lamb's Respite, against that Shockwave, because no matter how good a Shockwave you found at the end, it wasn't a good one, actually, in that last fight, but no matter how good your Shockwave is, you're not going to really find much, because you have that ult that's going to keep everyone alive. And I just felt like as soon as this lead came in for DIABOLUS, as soon as they started to get some momentum going, there was no answer.
DIABOLUS' bot lane was a rock as well that game. They really didn't have many poor moments in that game at all. And Krogson on that Zillion, you can see why he's sort of been feared as having that as a signature pick in the mid lane over and over again. He was impossible in these teamfight situations.
And his TPs as well. He was permanently everywhere he needed to be when the team needed it.
Absolutely. We're going to cut to a quick break. When we're back, we'll see if PHELAN can bite back, or if DIABOLUS take this in a 2-0 sweep.